In North America, many people put up birdhouses. Some people do it because birdhouses are pretty. Others do it because birds need homes, or because they just like looking at birds. But there is a worldwide history of making beautiful and very functional homes for birds. Let's take a tour of the world of birdhouses. For most of history, people built very functional birdhouses. They were trying to get something from the birds. Iranian pigeon towers, or dovecotes, were used to house up to thousands of pigeons to collect their waste as fertilizer for farms. The outside is a smooth tower that prevents land predators from entering. Inside, there is an inner tower with a honeycomb of nesting perches, each providing enough space for pigeons to raise their young. These towers are a combination of artwork and resource production structure. Egyptian pigeon towers are platforms built on top of buildings that allow pigeons to breed. They are maintained on many buildings in modern Egypt, and some of the oldest dovecotes also came from Egypt. The ancient Romans maintained dove houses called columbaria. We have several how-to guides on pigeon farming from Roman writers like Pliny. Romans brought pigeon farming to other areas as they conquered, including England and France. In the 1100s, the wealthy of England and France could build freestanding, giant birdhouses for pigeons. They were about 2 stories tall, plus a sloping roof, with holes in the inner walls for pigeons to roost. They also featured a single ladder on a rotating center post that let workers climb to the various nests. These buildings were mostly for meat, but it was later learned that the droppings were useful in farming and for making gunpowder. It wasn't until the 1500s that the idea of building houses for wild birds became widespread in the Ottoman Empire, in modern-day Turkey. And the traditional birdhouses are like miniature palaces on the sides of buildings. Feeding and caring for birds had cultural significance. Birdhouses probably came to India with Islamic trade. The chabutra of Western India are very beautiful platforms with 5 or 8 sides that are either designed for feeding or nesting. The artistry and geometry are unique, and chabutra can be found throughout urban areas and villages. In China, there is a tradition of keeping birds in cages dating back to the 1600s. From what I can find, though, there isn't a tradition of building specific houses for wild birds. Instead, traditional architecture has many nooks where birds might live. Native Americans put up gourds to attract purple martins for insect control. It isn't known whether this practice existed before European contact, and I would love to learn more if you have any insight. In the 1700s, colonial Americans used birdhouses to attract birds for pest control. Their design was a pottery vase with a 4-inch mouth that was mounted to the side of a house. By the late 1800s, the United States had lost half of its forest cover, and birdhouses are more important than ever. They provide some habitat function that we have destroyed, and they're an easy way for us to live alongside nature. I was absolutely amazed at the hidden, ancient, and widespread use of birdhouses. For most of history, those birdhouses were functional and provided resources. But other cultures built them with art and helped to define their own cultures. I'm inspired that people of today should install birdhouses in backyards and businesses, but I'm also intrigued by the idea of structures that are dedicated to wild animals and integrated into the normal layout of a city. Thank you for taking this worldwide tour. You can keep increasing your knowledge by subscribing. And you can support this channel on Patreon as a supporter or on YouTube as a channel member. Thanks for stopping by this week to learn what makes life awesome.